You're welcome to CoinNewsExtra interview session. Joining us today on CoinNewsExtra interview is James Bowater. James, you're welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Thank you very much.
Can you just give us a brief about yourself?
I came into this space, I think probably 2014 was when I was exposed to the idea of cryptocurrency properly. When I was involved in a project that led to a stablecoin, which we didn't know what that was at the time, but it was called the sort of 2017, late 2017, early 2018. I was thinking, gosh, I need to learn more about the space. In order to do that, I need to learn about, the various elements to the technology, so the, distributed ledger technology, proof of stake, proof of work, all of that kind of stuff. And
like crypto AM is a crypto and blockchain AI daily newspaper, right?
Crypto AM appears fortnightly as a double-page spread in City AM newspaper. So City AM is coming up to 15 years old. It is the leading financial newspaper in the commuter, the free handed out newspaper in the City of London. And it's the sort of the sort of the newspaper bible of the city employees who come into London to work. So Crypto AM is there every Tuesday. But obviously now, with the advent of the COVID-19 crisis and going digital, as I've said, we now have launched CryptoAM.io. So that's
talking about COVID-19. That will bring us to something. How people thought this that Bitcoin is a safe haven for investment, and this corona virus period will not affect the price of Bitcoin, but it did. What can you say about it?
Well, I think you're making a look. I think the assumption is, I think really, actually, when you say it did, I think it's, I think you're referring to sort of, that Thursday and Friday, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when there was that, falling off the cliff moment. And the falling off the cliff moment, I think, was as a surprise. It was a bit of a surprise, but the reaction was against the main markets falling off a cliff in a way that I don't think anyone could have predicted, because it sort of, I think, coincided with the battle between Saudi Arabia and Russia on the oil side. So there was like a perfect storm, and I think that what happened actually was that the Bitcoin price did suddenly go off the cliff because a lot of the short positions were liquidated. So there's suddenly, once one domino went, the whole lot went. But it's interesting how quickly it sort of uncoupled again from the main correlation of to the S&P 500. So and it's behaving more like gold again in terms of its trajectory. But safe haven or not, let's put something into perspective, Lee. That the entirety of the crypto market is worth about $190 billion at today's rate. Well, the United Kingdom did a 330 billion pound, rescue package, 2 weeks ago. So it's the cryptocurrency, global cryptocurrency market is absolutely tiny. But it absolutely does have a future, and I think this crisis, more than anything, has shown that tokenization, especially, has a role to play going forward, and I think that the crisis has accelerated that for sure.
That's very great. Do you still believe that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is still a safe haven?
Well, I think it's a difficult one to say. Obviously, there's going to be a raft of stable coins. I mean, there are a raft of stable coins. Asset-backed coins. So, I mean, I think the Tether's gone with a gold one and all that kind of stuff. I think there is a rationale. I think there is a rationale just for people's, and peace of mind that having an asset-backed token has merit. Bitcoin's in a unique position, as you know, because obviously it was first to market. The Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know who it is. He or she is, and as such, there's no one to arrest or no one to no one to sue, no one to go to jail. It's got its own unique status, and I think that provided that there's a demand for it, and all of that, then I think it's always going to be there. And I think that the logic of it is such that it will. I mean, provided 228 countries declare with one voice it's illegal, then I think it will be here to stay, and I think will be a store of value, much more than I think the original intent, which was as a peer-to-peer monetary exchange. I think it's more of a store of value than other things that are being built. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
That's very interesting, very, very interesting. So still moving ahead, with this coronavirus pandemic, what do you think will be the aftermath of it on cryptocurrency?
Well, I mean, you keep referring to cryptocurrency. I mean, I think that actually the wider discussion is obviously tokenization, digitization of assets. Big sort of criticisms on markets are, that they've shut. They're not open 24/7. Settlement times can be a bit strange and also lengthy. And things like suspension of markets, circuit breakers, all of that kind of stuff. None of that exists in the crypto space. But do I think there's a role for it to play? Absolutely. But then again, you've also got to remember that central banks are now playing catch up. So you've got central bank digital currencies being put forward, and I think that's been very much accelerated by the consequence of Corona. And I mean, so last year it was Libra coming into play that stimulated everyone to talk about digital currencies. So the digital dollar, the digital euro, digital pound, etc. And there was, look, I think that that's going to happen much quicker. And actually, a lot of the relief packages that have been put forward by the various governments. Imagine the ability to just push a button and send all the money immediately to everyone. That's and it's registered. The transactions are fully recorded on a blockchain and going to the right people without any middlemen nicking it. And I think that's one of the big backlashes. Like the reason that we all assume that Bitcoin was created, given the coded message in the Genesis block about the Bank of England doing another stimulus package in 2008. There's a peculiar resonance now with what we're going through at the moment. I mean, whatever anyone says, we were heading for a massive economic implosion anyway, with or without the COVID-19 crisis. But I think that certainly what's happened with COVID is that it's acted as an accelerant, a major accelerant to that whole problem. So I think that there will absolutely be. In the aftermath, I think there'll be an acceleration of stuff.
There is a Bitcoin halving coming this May 2020.
Yeah.
What do you think it will be? With previous times when there is a Bitcoin halving, the price normally goes up. Do you think there will be a bull run or price upward movement after the halving or before the?
Well, I mean, for one thing, it's really important to know. I absolutely do not give financial advice. It's not my thing. So bull run, or all I can tell you is about what I think. And I had a good conversation with a friend of mine who has an amazing platform dashboard called Bytetree, and the sort of the heat map dashboard of activity on the Bitcoin network I always find quite interesting. And you got to remember that the price, the price is dictated by supply and demand, obviously. So if you're halving the supply and the demand is there, then the price is going to go up. I mean, that's just simple economics. Will that happen? I can't predict whether it create a bull run or not, but I think that generally speaking, the historic data hasn't really been affected by all of this. We're still if you look at all-time lows rather than all-time highs, we're still on a positive trajectory. The question, I suppose, is has the halvening been priced in already to the market? Probably not, actually. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it necessarily in and of itself will create a bull run. I think that it's a bull run is a whole mixture of things. I mean, I think that Bitcoin will continue to grow, and I think that the halvening will most likely have an upward pressure on its price, because obviously if the demand is still there but the supply is less, then that's kind of how that all works.
Before we call it a day on today's interview, so how is the blockchain and crypto space over there in the UK, coming from adoption and regulation? How is it?
Well, I mean, I think I mean, from my perspective and my experiences, I think that London itself, or the UK, but I mean, London is the sort of the main hub, but I mean, the UK is really good, well placed to move things forward on blockchain, DLT, and AI technologies, and I think that in terms of the vibe in London, I think that the blockchain businesses are, I mean, obviously, like all of us, everyone who's been, sent home to work. I mean, we're a digital-based existence, so working from home is not such a culture shock for the industry, and I think people are really now, hunkering down and building their projects. And I think that the UK is a central and important hub for blockchain business and cryptocurrency. So and I think that now that there is the separation from Europe, I think that the regulatory the possibility of getting regulation now done properly, quickly, has elevated. I'm not saying that will happen. But also, there's another thing which I really think that could emerge, which is that we're all part of the Commonwealth. Nigerian, I think you're in the Commonwealth, aren't you, Nigeria?
Yeah, Nigeria Nigeria is part of the Commonwealth.
Exactly. So we got 54 nations in the Commonwealth, and 2.5 billion people all around the world. It strikes me that if we had a Commonwealth coin of some description, then that would be an amazing change. And also, don't forget, they're all linked by common law. So I think that would be a very cool thing to happen. Yes. And obviously, the Queen's the head of state of the Commonwealth. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm serious. I think and there's a wonderful woman in the industry called Loretta Joseph, who I know has worked tirelessly in Nigeria and certainly Mauritius and other parts of the world, including Bermuda, Serbia, and also most recently India. I mean, she and I often talk about the idea of a Commonwealth coin, and I think it's a very natural progression. So I think that would be awesome. So especially as a post-COVID situation, I think having a Commonwealth coin would be great.
So thank you very much, Mr. James, for joining us today on CoinNewsExtra interview.
Absolutely. All right.
Well, we're looking forward to having you once again.
Yeah.